Hey guys, it's Future Jake. So, I don't know how it happened, but somewhere in this recording, I got a couple of dropouts. In fact, I got a minute and a half worth of dropouts. Considering the entire episode was about an hour long, that's not really a big deal, but it still really annoys the crap out of me, so that sucks. But I didn't want to re-record just for 2 dropouts that equal a minute, so we're going to get the whole episode in full, and whenever it drops out, I'll just put like a screen letting you know, hey, this audio was here once, now it's not, someone took it. And I'm still also not entirely sure how it even happened, because we were using the snowball mic, and normally that only happens when you use the laptop mic with Audacity, and I don't know. But I'm going to figure it out eventually so that stops happening. It hasn't happened in a long time, too. And, the thing is, it normally doesn't happen until Martin records with me. So maybe I need to fire him. Maybe that's what the problem is. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. On with the rest. How's it going? I'm Jake, and welcome back to the Otaku Rated Club podcast. It's a podcast we talk about anime and other otaku-related subjects. I'm joined here again with the returning Martin. Martin, how you doing today?
I've been pretty good. I'm doing pretty good today.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. It's been a long time. We've had
like a few months,
some
right?
fakes on the. Yeah, it has been. It's been 3 months since the last. Damn. No, well, not since the last since the last episode. I think it's been more than that since the last time you were on, because you were on the second episode, right?
Yeah.
No, that was Brendan. You were on the first. It's been since the first episode.
Yeah.
Oh. So it's been a long time since you've been on the podcast. But you're here now. You're joining us. We're talking about your favorite anime, DeathNote, today.
One of my favorites.
One of your favorites. Second is Cowboy Bebop, right?
Yes.
You just told me that. Yeah. So Martin's here. I'm here. You guys are having a good time listening, hopefully. Remember to follow us on Twitch, which we have now at Jake118. We have an Instagram, Otaku Rated Club on Instagram, and SoundCloud. All those links will be in the description. Also a link to a website called WANDERATIC. The Rated Club is paired with a website called WANDERATIC, which is a clothing brand that is designed to inspire you to get out there and explore the world around you. They got shirts, hoodies, and backpacks, travel mugs, and even notebooks for you to jot down all those travels you have out there in the big old world.
Or, what do they call it? Points?
Points?
Something points where so you won't get lost.
I don't remember that.
Like, when man, what was it called?
Well, anyway, if you go to WANDERATIC using our link, or with not using our link, what? Fuck. I haven't done this in a while.
Not our link.
No, but we'll leave a link to the website, and at checkout you can use our code OTAKU, that's capital OTAKU, at checkout for 15% off. So that helps out us, it helps out you, get some sick ass merch. I'm wearing the shirt that I got from them right now, actually. It's very comfortable. It's a bit oversized, but it's nice. I like it.
Pretty thick quality, too.
Mm-hmm. And, and also 10% of their profits go to protecting wildlife. So not only will you be helping us out and getting yourself some cool clothes, you'll be
saving the turtles.
You'd be saving the turtles, man. Just protect the turtles, man. They didn't do anything wrong. They don't deserve that straw up their nose. It's so sad.
But I enjoy sipping out of a straw.
You're drinking out of a glass bottle right now.
Well, yeah, that's different. if you go to Denny's, do you drink right out of the cup?
Depends, I guess. I've seen it.
Yeah, I have too, but I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy doing it.
Anyway, point is, go to WANDERATIC, use our code OTAKU at checkout for 15% off. Thank you very much, WANDERATIC. We appreciate it. Also, in a more serious and important news, we'd like to discuss something that happened Thursday. The Kyoto Animation Studio fire. I brought this to Martin. Actually, he knew about it before I brought it to him, but to explain, it was 10:30 in the morning on Thursday that an arsonist walked into the Kyoto Animation Studio building, and using petrol. Was it petrol? He used petrol. He just set the entire building ablaze.
Well, witnesses say that he yelled something.
You die now.
Yeah, all you will die. And
he injured himself escaping, and witnesses do say that as he was walking out, he was mumbling to himself, you ripped it off, and he was clearly not in a right state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also obviously a preemptive attack. A lot of the exits were chained off, and most of the people died because of the smoke in the stairways, as 33 people lost their lives that day. 7 were injured, and even more in critical condition in a hospital. Very sad day for not just, anime. It's just in Japan in general, because ever since I think in the article I read, since World War II, there's never been like a worse
Like mass murder.
33 people died and 46 are in the hospital.
46 in the hospital. Yeah, there were 70 people in that building that day, so it could have been a lot worse. Granted,
and most of the people in who died in the fire were young women from ranging from their 20s to their 30s.
Yeah, and a lot of the good names were lost that day. People, in case you're not familiar with Kyoto Animation, they worked on some anime such as they worked on Anohana, they worked on Chunibyo, which was the second anime I ever watched. If I didn't watch Chunibyo, I probably would have never begun watching.
Well, they worked on the second one, didn't
they? They worked on the first and second, didn't they?
I think it was just the second.
Well, they worked in it. Well, I watched both either way, and it's such a good anime. Great art, voice acting is great. The dub is also really good, obviously.
And they also worked on A Silent Voice.
A Silent Voice, yeah, that movie.
I love that movie.
I haven't seen it yet, and I regret not watching it yet. I'm probably gonna watch tonight. But yeah, and then you see, even if you don't like anime, you have to think about it. These people, all they do for a living is make art, and that's what anime is. It's art. You can't. It's just.
There's other people who also just prioritizing story making, but so
yeah. But in a sense, it's art,
Yes.
And these people, if they're doing they died simply that day because they're doing what they love, in a sense, and that's really sad. And in remembrance of them, people who lost their lives that day, very sad.
And Crunchyroll's actually started this thing where you could send a message to them.
Oh yeah, we're gonna leave we're talking about this. I forgot to tell the main point. We're going to leave a link in the description to their GoFundMe, which by now has probably raised over $1 million. It was made by Sentai Filmworks. They're a company out of Texas, I believe. And all the money, they're very reputable. So they're not just going to take all this money. They will give it to Kyoto and help them rebuild and keep doing what they love. And that is if Kyoto accepts the money, because a lot of Japanese businesses are known to decline these types of donations and money. But we hope that they do so they can rebuild and keep doing what they do. And yeah, so we'll leave a link to the description. Go donate. I'm not in a position to donate myself because I'm kind of poor, but hopefully you can. And another way is to just keep watching anime. Just help out the industry. Just keep watching and enjoying what they make. So with that done, let's move on to some more positive stuff. For example, how have you been, Martin?
I've been pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm sad right now because I watched Goodbye Michael.
Oh yeah,
from The Office.
The Office is totally anime.
I don't know about totally anime. But
would you watch an Office hentai? Office hentai.
It's called hentai.
Yeah,
and it's art.
Yeah, that was the blooper. He's never actually done the crossword.
Yeah,
it's just hentai. He's looking at all.
What was the deleted scene?
Yeah. But what anime are you watching currently besides Office? Obviously, because Office is a really good anime.
Watching Kakeguri.
Is that the gambling anime?
Yeah. I kind of stopped watching it because, in my opinion, I don't really like the second season.
Oh, there's a second season to it?
Yeah. It's like a new season.
Yeah, I saw it on Netflix.
Yeah, I didn't really like it much. The first one was A1 though. And then...
How many episodes are in it?
I think 12.
Oh, okay, I could watch that.
And then I'm watching One Piece. I'm in the beginning, episode...
We got a lot of meat.
1,000 to go.
Yeah. All right. Excuse me real quick. I'm gonna open up my Arizona. Okay. Keep going.
And I'm watching. Oh man, what was the other one? Just slipped my mind.
Well, I finished Gun Gale Online last night. We went to get drinks real quick, and I talked to him about it. It's really good. I like it.
Fruits Basket.
Basket. Yeah, they remade that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for a fact.
Right now.
Yeah, I know for a fact they remade it. That's why I said that.
And then, is it wrong to pick up a girl in the dungeon or something like that?
Yeah, I watched Kakeguri, but the problem was I watched the first episode, and I think my problem was I watched it in dub, and I didn't really like the dub, which is weird because normally I like dubs, but I just didn't like Kakeguri.
That's why you go to sub.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna watch it in sub now. Mm-hmm. Now that I have from the master that it is A1 sauce. So now something I want to talk about real quick before we get into Death Note, this will segue us into Death Note, is vintage anime. So vintage anime are older anime, obviously, as you know, DBZ, Naruto, Bleach. I would say those count as vintage anime, yeah? Mm-hmm. I'm not so sure about Bleach, though. You think Bleach?
Yeah, the early seasons. It's
What year did it come out? DBZ, that was mid-90s, right?
Yeah, that was 95, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Naruto... That was early. Naruto was early 2000s, but it still had the same art style and same storytelling style.
Now, of course, there's anime way older than those, but for the general audience, we don't put this in perspective of what a vintage anime can also be, because nobody here has seen the original Astro Boy.
I haven't.
You have or
I haven't.
Yeah, neither of us.
Astro Boy's from the 60s.
That was
that's a hardcore vintage one.
Yeah, was it the first anime?
It was one of the first ones.
It was one of the first, if not the first.
Bleach came out like in 2004. Yeah, 2004.
Well, I feel like if an anime is more than 10 years old, it can be vintage.
I feel like when it has that 90s style, because during the 90s style, so you know how like the chick's hair would be like cut off at the shoulders and go around at a sharp angle and then go to
like a bob.
Yeah, it's old anime like that.
So art style also plays a part in vintage?
Like Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop was full on in the 90s. Inuyasha. That one's I would consider it a vintage anime.
Yeah.
And then also a really successful one from back in the day is Armitage 3.
Armitage?
Yeah.
Sounds familiar. I've never seen that.
Yeah, I recommended it.
Oh yeah, you did. I'm sorry. There's also been tons of remakes in recent years of vintage anime, such as Berserk, Hunter x Hunter, and Fruits Basket. Like you mentioned, that's the latest one.
I don't think that's a vintage anime.
Fruits Basket or what?
Fruits Basket, I wouldn't consider it vintage anime, but I would consider it early 2000s anime. Like when Funimation was barely on its baby steps. Now it's a huge company.
Yeah.
And
have you seen the remake for Berserk?
I haven't.
Have you seen the original Berserk?
I haven't either.
We're professionals. I've heard though that the remake is bad and that you should just watch the original because it's better. Hunter x Hunter. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen clips and parts with my sister.
What do you think of that?
So far, it's like it's a huge story, and I actually like the way like they tell the story. It's a little different from most other ones, and they actually show how like what the character is going through. Yeah.
Okay. So I recently also started watching Yu Yu Hakusho, which I've just wondered recently, like, oh, this is such a cool anime. What if they made a remake of it? And so I looked it up. I have a link here in my notes. I'm gonna see if this link still works. There actually was a petition to make a new one a year or two ago. I'm just gonna check real quick how much it made, and I have no internet. Fuck. Okay. I'm gonna connect to the internet real quick. Also, I'd like to mention it's extremely hot in this room.
Yeah.
Because we're doing this for you guys. I have a window AC, and normally I had that blasting, but we don't want the background noise.
Yeah.
So we're kind of suffering for we're suffering for your entertainment.
Yeah.
So
I'm sweating right now.
We're dying. Oh man. Okay. So petition for Yu Yu Hakusho remake. Also, now that we're on YouTube and not SoundCloud, you guys can actually comment and tell us what you guys think. Give us your opinions. Like, what do you consider a vintage anime? What do you think of some vintage anime? Your opinions on stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho and all that. And
also on the podcast itself. If we're shit.
Yeah.
If we're alright.
So, yeah. Its goal was 1,000. So Yu Yu Hakusho remake. The goal was 1,000, and I got 1,174 signatures. And yeah, so obviously it never happened. When was this? Hold on, let me check when this was. I should have wrote this down.
That's all the way like in June, so it's probably like.
Was this Wait, was this recent?
This is recent.
Okay then. Well, it obviously didn't happen, but it'd be pretty cool if it did.
I mean, animation doesn't take 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You gotta get a storyboard, which takes like months, and then you send it to some sweatshop in Korea.
All right. Well, like I said, Segway could definitely be a vintage anime.
I wouldn't consider that either.
You wouldn't? Well,
like, there's a lot of animes from like the 2000s. It wasn't like straight sharp lines everywhere.
Yeah, technology advanced and so did art.
And so we would see like the actual roundness of their facial expression or facial features and everything instead of just two triangles, and then a square at the chin like that.
Yeah. Well, Death Note, it was made by
most of the time L would have to he knew that Light was Kira.
Yeah.
But he had to pull out facts from it, but he had no evidence.
Yeah, because the way L works, his mindset works, like, okay, Light could be Kira, but I need to know that he's Kira. I can't just arrest him and finish the case. So that's his way of thinking. He needs the concrete evidence and fact.
Well,
and
you need that for law too.
You need that for law too, yeah, but
you can't just be like, hey, he raped me.
That's a whole other topic for another day, Martin. Jesus. But I'm gonna be honest with them real quick though. Like, before watching Death Note, I thought Light was L.
Oh.
So.
Well, sorry. How are you supposed to know if you
never watched it? Yeah. But so the rules of the Death Note are simple. It's a notebook. Death Note comes with some rules. So
basic rule number 1 is
whoever's name is written in the book will die. The writer must have the face of the person he plans to kill in mind. This way, anyone with the same name will not be killed. So that way, if there's another, what's your last name?
Marquez.
So if there's another Martin Marquez out there, I don't kill every Martin Marquez on Earth. If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. If not, the victim dies of a heart attack. And that's pretty suspicious when about 1,000 people die in a week of a heart attack in prison.
Yeah.
Also, details of the death should be written within 6 minutes and 40 seconds of writing the person's name, which is basically rule number 3, but extended upon, I guess. But there's also some other really interesting rules as well. One of them being the Death Note is rendered useless if you misspelled the person's name 4 times. So if I'm just really bad at spelling and I wanted to kill you, I would suck. If you were... This is a question I'm sure everyone has thought about watching Death Note. If you had the Death Note, who's someone you'd put in the Death Note?
I mean, I don't really think about killing people. Psychopath.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you'd have an answer ready.
No.
I better...
Do I look like a psychopath to you?
No. Also, something interesting also is that the Death Note will not affect anyone under 2 years old.
Oh wow!
Which is kind of fair.
I didn't know.
Because I don't think you're pure evil at 2 years old.
Well, how are you gonna be evil from the day you were born?
Exactly. No one's born evil. No one's born bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know about that. You know, Hitler.
I don't think he would have been born bad.
So, also, if actions that lead up to the victim's death cannot be achievable in under an hour, then the victim also dies. So
they actually did explain this one. So if Light, he was explaining to Ryuk that if he wrote someone's name down and that was in Japan in prison, and he said that he was gonna kill
himself in front of the Eiffel Tower.
In front of the Eiffel Tower. That's not possible.
Yeah.
So he just died of a simple heart attack.
And Ryuk himself didn't even know that.
No.
So that's interesting as well, that Light was able to figure out things not even the Shinigami himself didn't know.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because, or it's not interesting. It's understandable because the Shinigami world is just, it's a nowhere land.
Yeah.
Like, and they were all bored there. They just gamble and that's it. So
it's like not even the Shinigami themselves know why they exist anymore. They have like the only meaning in their life really is to write names in the notebook, and even then they don't have to do it. No. It's just a thing that they do. They don't know why they do it. It's just they do it. It's like a fun, but not really, because all they do is gamble.
But then again, like, they're scared of death as well.
Yeah, so that's why they write the names in the notebook, is because it expands their own lifespan. And the Shinigami eyes, also real quick, they have the Shinigami, they have special eyes. They can see
your name,
the death date, and their name of the person above them.
And in the anime, you can see like random numbers and everything. It was actually a formula to see like when they were born or like when they would die. and the author originally made that formula, but
It's not really
they
explained.
forgot it.
They kind of forgot to explain it.
And actually, in the manga, we don't know who the author is. We know who the illustrator is, but not the author.
Oh, like the actual manga?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We don't know. We don't even know if it's a male or female.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like I forgot what was his name. It's like the creator of Monster Musume. He doesn't like his face being shown. It's like in an interview he had like a monster mask on, like from one of the girls in the anime.
Yeah.
What was his name? Okayami? I forgot.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about Death Note. So, speaking of Shinigami, I want to talk about the designs of the Shinigami. It's like we see a lot. There's one he has like a million chains around his neck that are like gold. It's like a goat skull. Was there like a specific design that you really liked?
Not necessarily, but each one was interesting in a way because it showed like the old artistic style from Japan, like from like the 1700s, and how the gods were depicted and the humans. Like the humans were depicted really, like you could see in the artwork, like they had long faces. They looked ugly, but the gods that they had,
They were crazy.
They were crazy. They were so elaborate, and they were it was beautiful art style.
I really like elaborate designs too on characters, right? So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And also want to talk about. Oh, so just a quick question. You remember Nier?
Yes.
He was like white-haired L.
Yes.
Was he a boy or a girl?
He's a boy.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because he has a very feminine voice. I watched it in dub, by the way. We both. Did you watch it in dub or sub?
I watched it both.
I only watched dub.
Yeah,
he
but
has
I think
a very feminine voice.
Yeah, I actually like both. The dubbed better.
Yeah, same. So he was a boy.
Yes.
I need to delete some stuff off my history now.
Alright.
Okay. Also, let's talk about Misa real quick. So
Misa.
I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I actually really like Misa. I think she's one of my favorite characters.
Why would you get hate for liking?
Because Boaz, the one who recommended this anime, being our 50th follower, thank you very much. He remember I used to go to school with him in East LA, and he brought the manga to school. Sometimes he would read it during lunch, and this was before I even heard of Death Note, and I'm like, oh, who's that? I point to Misa, and he's like, oh, that's Misa. She's useless. And then I say, yeah, but she's cute.
I don't think she was useless.
She was actually very useful in the end.
She was useful if Light did not. First off, her Shinigami light eyes, and if Light didn't use her, because let's face it, he used her.
He did. He used the shit out of her.
He used her, and she would just follow along.
Yeah, Misa was all for it.
She loved him. And I wouldn't say she was useless because he used her so much and even made her do the Shinigami Eye deal.
Shinigami Eyes, yeah.
Which is half of your lifespan twice. Well, she has a long lifespan because the Shinigami prevents her death, which
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So I'd argue that she was very useful, because Light in the most roundabout, because Misa gets found out about being Cure number 2, and in the most roundabout way, so that he himself won't die, Light has to save Misa. And it's just, I can't even explain to you how difficult it was. First, he had to get rid of his Death Note and replace it with Misa's Death Note, and then give the Death Note to L, in which case he'd hand it back to Light, and so he'd remember everything, because when you touch a Death Note a second time, you remember everything that happened to the Death Note.
And then Misa also released her Death Note.
Yeah, it's so complicated. I don't even remember half of it. Yeah. But, I mean, I remember most of the important parts, but it's like, it was so complicated.
Yeah. That's why I love this anime, because it's so difficult.
It's complicated and difficult, but it's so interesting. It keeps you enthralled.
They put you in a corner. They put each of the characters in a corner and then just abuse the fuck out of them. And somehow Light always finds a way to get out of that corner and go for the lead again. But then when he goes to the lead, L is always there to put him down into that corner again.
Yeah, L is a genius. He's amazing.
And even after his death,
L still has like all these like fail safes set up for him to block him in his path.
Yeah, but
fail safes being, I think, near, right?
But also, what people say who's a useless character is Mello.
Mello.
But if it weren't for Mello, who risked his life,
chocolate bar guy,
and pretty much killed himself, Nier would have never found out, or he probably would have in the future, but he would have never had hardcore evidence that Light was Kira.
Yeah. Something also really interesting is like L. What was his butler's name?
Watari,
yeah. Watari. So L's assistant is Watari. L's assistant Watari. So Light kills him.
No.
Does he? How does Watari die?
No, it was Misa's Shinigami.
Misa Shinigami kills him.
What was her name? Something with the R.
I don't remember.
Rem?
It was Rem. The original Rem.
Yeah.
Rem.
Because I find this elaborate as well because Light put Rem at a corner. Because L was finding out that Misa was about to be, or was Kira.
Yeah.
Because like L kind of led him to that, or Light led him to that.
It's really confusing when they both have L names.
Yeah. And if Rem didn't do anything, Misa would have been in.
Would have died.
Would have died pretty much.
Yeah.
So
and
Rem wrote everyone's name down, Watari and L, and they
That's how they died.
And she became. That's how they died, and she became just dust for saving.
Yeah, that's how we learned Shinigami because the only way to kill Shinigami is for Shinigami to fall in love with a human, and Rem made that mistake. She tried to save Misa's life.
Just as her friend did.
Yeah, that's the thing is Misa's life was saved twice by a Shinigami, once before and then once by Rem. So, yeah, that's how you kill Shinigami. And that's also how Watari died. And Watari, besides being L's assistant and butler, also owned an orphanage that L was raised in, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why in his death episode, or the episode where he died, he could just hear a bell.
Yeah. And when Watari dies, that's when we learn, he had an orphanage, and that's how we piece it all together. That's where L was raised. So Watari is kind of like L's like stepfather in a sense. And but the thing about the orphanage is everyone that's raised there is raised in like such a specific way, I believe, where like they're just geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
They are so smart. And L's predecessors were supposed to be these two, Nier and Mello.
Mm-hmm. But Nier was chosen.
And Mello was always resentful because he was always the one that was behind Nier, but just right there, kind of like Vegeta and Goku, where like Vegeta's like right there, but Goku's always that one level above. That was Nier and Mello was Vegeta, and Nier was Goku. Mm-hmm. And I like how they all kind of had their quirks, because L, his thing was he loved sweets, like he loved to eat, like no matter what, like here, have some tea. Watari is giving us green tea ice cream. I will stack these cream cups that I just drink with my coffee.
I'll let you have the strawberry.
Cake.
I remember it was a strawberry. Are you gonna eat that cake?
Yeah, cake makes you fat? No. So he just takes it.
Yeah.
And Nier, his thing was puzzles and toys. Mm-hmm. And then Mello's was chocolate. Also, I don't know why, but Mello always apparently eats the stalest chocolate ever. Because, like, you notice how he takes, like, one bite and, like, half the bar goes missing.
Well, that's not normal chocolate. That's dark chocolate, my friend.
Oh.
Dark chocolate is more crumbly.
I don't like dark chocolate.
Me neither.
Yeah,
I like
okay.
milk chocolate.
If you like dark chocolate, tell us in the comments down below. But I think that's really cool if they all have their quirks. Mm-hmm. I like that. It added a bit of character to them. And also...
That's the point.
Yeah. And also talk about L specifically. I don't think he ever blinks. Does L ever blink?
Yes.
I don't see him blink at all.
Yeah, like he has to blink.
Because he has those bags under his eyes. Like, does he just never close them?
Well, I have bags.
Yeah, but that's different. You're human.
So L isn't human?
No, he's a Shinigami. No, I'm kidding. Could you imagine that twist? L was actually a Shinigami the whole time.
Yeah, would have been cliche.
The thing about he only eats sweets, not a quirk. And also, I think my favorite moment in the entire anime was the car scene from episode 17. Do you remember that?
When Light's father
Yeah.
got out the gun. Yeah, that was crazy.
Light's father, because in order to make them think that in order to make them think that Light isn't Kira, Light confesses to thinking he might be Kira unconsciously, and thinks that he should be locked up, and if he doesn't kill people for like a month, then he's safe.
No, he didn't do it unconsciously.
Well, he didn't do it unconsciously, but that was the
whole plan, and they
to
already
lead them away from it. That whole roundabout way involved him getting locked up for a whole month. So, yeah, at some point, and at the very end, when L is considered, okay, maybe he really isn't Kira, he does a trick where he takes Misa, Light, puts him in a car with Light's father, and they drive out to this undisclosed location, and Light says, "You are Kira, and you will be taken to an execution right now." And he says, "But I'm not going to let them do that. I, your father, I'm going to kill you myself," and pulls out a gun.
Yeah, but they already released both of the notebooks at that time, didn't they?
No, they do that after.
Oh, okay.
That's way after.
No?
Yeah.
Because this is the point where Light is actually innocent. Because he let go of the notebook, so he didn't have any of his memories.
Okay, yeah, then you're right. This is such a... It's a confusing anime. It's also one of the first psychological anime I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And probably a good one to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So... But that was a really good... I liked it. It made me think like, oh, he's really going to do it. But no, obviously he didn't, because it went for another 10 episodes. Mm-hmm. Also, there's this character, Mikami. Do you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the delete guy.
Delete.
Yeah.
Delete.
Now, if you follow me on my personal page on Instagram, which I'll plug in the description below, you know I'm also a fan of wrestling as well as anime. Martin, not so much. But there's this wrestler. His name is Matt Hardy, right? And in recent years, he's reinvented himself, and he's become broken or woken Matt Hardy, where like he's built this entire universe around himself of like like everything has a soul basically, and he's like a reincarnation of his past self. You know, wrestling's weird.
I know.
And his thing though is he does this thing delete, right? He like strikes out like delete.
Like how Watari.
Yeah, and I feel like Mikami, not Watari.
Oh well, Mikami there.
I feel like that could have driven some inspiration from Mikami.
Probably.
Because Mikami, because Light is basically God to Mikami.
Yeah.
And I feel like when Matt Hardy, when he does his delete thing, he talks about like the what does he call it? Like a higher power is telling him to do this.
He sounds like a cult leader.
That's basically what Matt Hardy is. Except his cult has a giraffe and a dilapidated boat and Senior Benjamin. And
Waco, Texas. Here we go again.
He has a giraffe with the soul of Abraham Lincoln in it. This gimmick cost him like $1 million in his own money.
I don't understand.
He's a cool wrestler though. He's cool. He also bites people's ears off. I don't think Mikami did that. Did Mikami do that?
No. I think he stabbed himself with a pen.
He did it. Was it a pen or did he have like a tonsil blade?
No, it's those pens that need the ink.
Oh, okay, yeah, because Mikami commits Sudoku. Seppuku.
Going back to the office.
He commits seppuku when like he guts himself with his own knife, but he uses a pen.
No.
Doesn't he commit seppuku?
No,
When Light's about to get caught, he kills himself, doesn't he?
He puts in his arm. The pen in his arm, and then the blood splatters everywhere.
Oh, I thought he seppuku'd himself.
No, he stabbed it into his arm.
Oh. Well, anyway, there's also a really interesting scene of when they had to quit their jobs.
Yeah.
That was when they finally got that big tower for the whole investigation, and...
Well, yeah, like, they couldn't have the police force having, like, a bunch of the files, so...
Yeah, so... They all decide, so they say, the Japan police force says, we're canceling the investigation, it's over, we're not doing this anymore, it's just a risk to keep investigating. It's basically what they're saying. So they stop all investigations on the L case, on the Light case, Kira case, fuck! But L obviously wants to keep investigating.
Yeah.
So he says, if you want to keep investigating, you need to quit your job. You need to quit being a police officer and work for me. So... In that situation, would you have quit or would you have stayed and worked on the task force? I would have just stayed a police officer.
Well, yeah, but you got to see like in their perspective, like they have a strong sense of justice because they were in the police force for a reason, and they're not gonna let this random guy just start killing everyone without at least helping, like with the investigation.
I'm thinking about the livelihood of my family right now, so I think I just stay in the police force.
Well, yeah, but
I understand where you're coming from, though.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think in the comments below, because we can do that now, because we have comments on YouTube. One complaint I have about the anime, though, is I feel at some points, and it's probably because of just how the story went, is that it dragged on in some cases. Because I would be watching an episode, I'd be in the middle of an episode, and I'd be thinking, oh, is the episode almost over? And then I look, it's like, oh, we're only halfway through.
Yeah.
So it felt a little dragged on. That's not to say I didn't enjoy it. In the end, I loved it. It was a really good anime, but it just dragged on a lot.
I wouldn't use like dragged on. It's just that so much happens within a short amount of time.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Yeah. Like
Arizona. The last episode, though, was my favorite.
The last one?
Yeah. Because, well, first off, Light really does die, but also because of Matsuda.
Yeah.
Because throughout the entire investigation, he's been like this kind of like this goofball. He's kind of like he doesn't take it too seriously. But he's still an officer, so he knows.
He wasn't
what's
like
going
the goofball. He was just a screw up.
Yeah. Well, in this one episode, in a matter of seconds, he redeems himself. He stops Light from escaping, just fires off his entire revolver. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
Well, he didn't shoot all his bullets, and then he shot him like twice, and then Matsuda, what are you doing?
Yeah, he was going for the kill shot, and then who stopped him?
They all did.
They pulled him back. They
like pulled him, and then he shot the concrete instead of his head.
And the thing, so Nier is the one who finally catches him, and sorry, because I'm clearing my throat. Nier is the one that catches him. Light has this whole setup where Mikami is actually writing down the names of everyone in that room. So,
but the thing is, it wasn't the
Death Note. They replaced it with just a normal notebook that made to look like the Death Note. Because beforehand, Mello gave Nier a Death Note that was real, right? And they made a replica, and he gave that one back, and
it was complicated, but
it worked out in the end.
That was so that was your favorite episode?
That was my favorite episode. What was your favorite episode?
Mine was when Light killed Ray Pember's fiance or wife. No, fiance.
That was my least favorite episode.
How?
I thought it was so stupid for some reason. I don't know why.
I love this episode because Light had to get Ray Pember. What was her name again? I forgot.
I forgot. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Ray Pember's wife.
Fiance, wasn't it?
Fiance. Wife. Let's say wife.
Okay. He had to get her trust because he knew, or he wrote her name down, but it was an alias. So he knew she used the alias, but he didn't know her real name. If she knew
because Ray Pember's fiance, this is gonna be so annoying without knowing her name. She had information regarding the fucking goddamn regarding the Kira case, where
she did her own investigation.
Yeah, because she's a former FBI agent and has worked with L before.
Yeah,
and she had information regarding it, obviously, because her fiance Ray Pember was killed by Kira, and the person who Kira was had to be on the bus with him that day that he died. And Ray Pember's death in itself was also very complicated because Light was on a date with the student Misora. That's her name?
Yeah.
The Ray Pember's wife?
Significant other.
So Misora, I am all over the place with this right now.
Yeah, but she was gonna go to the task force, and but Light was also walking there, and she said something to the clerk, so like the receptionist.
Yeah, I have info regarding the Kira case.
Yeah, and he caught on, and he's like, "Oh, I'm actually working for that, or something like that.
Yeah, he tried to convince her.
No, it was her. Like he didn't say that he was working for. Like I think it was his father.
Yeah, my father was working on that case.
Yeah, and so he was talking all friendly like, and they were just walking around, and little did she know like she was talking to Kita, and it was amazing because he had to get all her trust to say his name or her name. Like, okay, then I'll just write this down, but I'm gonna need some form of identification.
Here's my ID, person that I totally trust.
It was driver's license.
I don't remember.
Like
I didn't like that.
She was like,
I don't know why.
I used the thing, and it was so brilliant how he.
That's like where my point of it dragging on comes in, because I thought that episode.
That was not dragging on. That was just
felt dragged on to me.
Well, how is that drag? Like, you can't just.
I know it's not that simple. Like, oh hey, can I have your driver's license? Yeah, sure. Here. I know it's not that simple.
This was made to be a significant blow to the whole task force, because
it's understandable. Yeah, I don't know. I'm weird. Okay, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't consider it.
Shut up, phone.
Dragging on because.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn that down.
Yeah, or put on vibrate or silence. Like, it wouldn't be dragging on because it was some. Like I said, it was supposed to be a significant moment for this anime to the task force and everyone. And she is a trained FBI agent. She is trained in this, so she's trained to know all the tricks. And Light knew all those tricks, too. But she knew them, too, so if he used them, it would have been shit. So he had to use other ways in his mind to get her name. And then after, like, all this trust was built in, after 40 seconds of he was just looking at his watch, and she said, "Why are you looking at your watch?"
Because I'm Kita.
And then
it sets in, and then she goes to kill herself because that's the death he chose.
Yeah, and you could see the look of terror, and then she just goes in like to a depressive
state.
She
knows what's about to happen.
Then she goes into a depressive state because the DeathNote now took over her mind.
Yeah. And
the way like they depicted it is that she's walking off. Like, what happened? Don't you want me to the task force? He's making fun of her. This is where his psychopathic and sociopathic mind sets into the audience, because we know that he has no emotion towards those people.
Well, it was kind of like established early on that he was kind of morally gray.
Yeah, but it wasn't to like the point of that. He just killed someone and was getting to know them. And he did all these tricks. And after he killed her, or pretty much sent her to her death, he was laughing at it. Well, he was great. He was accomplished. Yeah. And I like the form of cinematography where it just shows her looking or just walking, and then it goes black.
She walks up the steps
to a noose.
To a noose, yeah. I did like that, though. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's why I love this episode.
Okay, well, it's my least favorite episode, but I will say it's a good episode. It's still a good episode. It's very well done. It's just my least favorite because of how I feel it being dragged on. But it was still very good. All the points that you make, I have to admit that, at least. And that's another point I want to talk about is Light himself, how he's morally gray. Because it starts out, his intentions are good. It's just the way he's going kind of about it. Because he's also, not only is he killing all these criminals and people who he feels are evil and don't deserve to be in this world he wants to make, he's also killing people who are opposing it. Mm-hmm. And in that kind of sense, you think about it, he's killing innocent people. They didn't do really anything wrong besides oppose him.
Yeah, that's the wrong.
So it's kind of like a morally gray area. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, he was trying to be the god of this new world.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
And because of this, he was willing to kill everyone who would get into his way.
Yeah. Like on quote unquote national TV, he killed another quote L, who we thought was L, because He said, "I'm going to find you," and he said,
"I will find you, and I would
bring you to justice," something like that.
Yeah.
So just because he saw that on national TV, he was willing to kill this person because he was opposing him.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously it wasn't. It was a body double.
And this was amazing character development, because we didn't know how Elle looked at this time yet. We just saw his mouth moving. That's it.
Yeah.
We didn't know how he looked.
As far as we know, Elle was just a letter on a screen. We didn't see his face.
And all we knew was what everyone else told us. He's the world's greatest detective. That's it. And we didn't know how to prove that.
Well,
and because of this, we see like the character development and how brilliant it was.
He didn't. It was said to be a national broadcast, but in reality, it was only shown in Japan in a very specific location,
Kyoto
in a very specific in the Kyoto region. It's so beautiful. But Death Note is a really good psychological anime. If you want to get into psychological, if you want to get more into some psychological anime, Death Note would be a good place to start. And I'm definitely going to be watching a lot more from now on. Do you have any to give me, Martin?
Psychological wise, I need to look at
your list.
Yeah, and
you watch more anime than me, for a fact.
Probably. I have like a whole list that I've watched. It's from last year. It's like 95.
Yeah,
last year.
So yeah, it was a good anime.
Yes.
I think we're done. Do you think we're done?
Well, we can mention some things about Death Note, like have you heard or watched Death Parade?
Death Parade? No, I haven't.
It's this anime where it's like people decide, like when you die, people decide where you go, either to heaven or to hell, if those exist. That's what they say. And like they pretty much bring out the worst in you, and most of the time they do end up sending people to hell, quote unquote hell, and it's like you just wake up in the elevator. Where am I? And sometimes it's just you, and sometimes it's you or the person you died with.
Oh.
Like say, like there is one where with a car accident.
Everyone who died in the car accident will be in the same elevator.
Like it was just two people.
Oh, okay.
Not in the same elevator, but two different.
That sounds interesting.
And like one of the judges, there was someone waiting to be evaluated, and it was Light. He was right there waiting like this.
Wait, Light was in Death Parade?
Yes, just as a cameo.
Oh, okay.
there wasn't no like speaking or anything. It was like a camera. They panned on him. He was like this.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was just he didn't have no lines or anything. And actually, in the dubbed version of Death Note, your favorite anime, Black Lagoon, is what's the guy's name?
Which one?
The
Rock.
business guy.
Rock.
It's the same voice actor.
For who?
For
Monster?
For Light and
Rock. Oh wait, Light voice. Oh, I thought they were similar. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same voice actor.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
And what else? And actually, as we all know, Death Note came to an end in the manga, but the illustrator and the author are making like new pictures and new like a little bit of storyline for like this art exhibit in Japan. I don't know when. I don't know if it passed already. I think it's in September. I don't know.
You want to go?
I don't think we can afford to go to Japan.
No, we totally can. Just hop on a cargo ship. We got it.
Yeah.
No, we can't afford that for shit.
And a lot of people are hoping like this leads to more storyline for.
Yeah, it's like you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Yes, I love that.
Did you watch Korra?
No, of course.
And so so in the way that Korra is kind of like the second coming of an Avatar, do you think there'd be like a second Death Note, or like it's Death Note but a different way about it?
I wouldn't see how the story would connect, because Ryuk, he was the only reason he dropped the notebook, quote unquote dropped.
He was bored.
And I don't think there's much of a story to
Yeah, like what are you gonna?
relate.
What is Ryu gonna do? Oh, I'm bored again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gonna be the same
it's kind
story.
of just boring.
And on the differences between the manga and the anime from Death Note is like in the anime, after Light dies, Misa, I said Lisa, yeah.
Lisa.
Misa throws herself off a building.
She does?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
That's why in like the ending credits, you see her falling.
I didn't see her falling.
Oh no, she's on
a train.
No, she's on the train and she travels on top to a building.
I didn't see that.
Yes.
What?
Yes, she travels on top of a building.
Misa, no.
Wait, pause the audio.
What? No.
We gotta see this.
Oh God. Okay, we'll be right back. God damn it.
We're gonna see this.
Okay, we're back. God damn. Well, okay, she didn't jump off the building.
We
it
don't
was
see her
insinuated.
jump, but like, what kind of person who, like, especially like Misa, would just stand off a building like that in depression after like died?
I don't know. She's weird.
She jumped.
No.
She jumped. And in the manga, she actually starts a cult. Yeah. And after you see him on the stairs and die, you see like a bunch of people in like cloaks walking with lanterns, and then Kira, our only light, and it shows her face, and that's the end.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
There's also something I brought up as we were watching this, is that you don't know how to feel when Light dies.
No.
Because he's the main character, but he's
the bad guy.
He's also the bad guy. In a way, he's the bad guy.
Like, we don't want to admit it, but he's the bad guy.
Yeah. Death Note kind of makes you root for the bad guy, but in a sense it also doesn't, because it's not okay. It's just, it's weird, man. Death Note is a really good anime. I really enjoyed watching it, and I'm so glad you recommended it, since we reviewed it, we talked about it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. So, with that being said, I can officially say we are done. So thank you, Raiders, very much for joining us today. Thank you for listening and giving us your opinions down in the comments. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Make sure to follow us on Twitch and donate to us if you'd like. It's very much appreciated. Hope you had a good time.
Light laughed on Nell's grave in the deleted scene.
Bye!
面白そう